25 years later, after the original Scary Movie changed parody films forever, the franchise is back. But can Scary Movie 6 still make audiences laugh in a world where horror movies are already self-aware and internet memes move faster than any movie joke? What's up? And welcome back. I'm your host, the Dramatic Critic, and we're going to be talking about Scary Movie 6. Scary Movie 6 marks the return of one of the comedy's most recognizable parody franchises after a long absence from theaters. Known for spoofing the biggest horror movies and pop culture moments of its time, the series built its reputation on outrageous humor, unexpected celebrity appearances, and poking fun at whatever audiences we're talking about. This new installment arrives in a very different entertainment landscape, where horror has evolved and internet culture moves at lightning speed. The big question is whether Scary Movie 6 can successfully modern horror hits while introducing a new generation to the franchise's brand of comedy. For longtime fans, it's a chance to revisit a series that has helped define parody films in the early 2000s. Whether newcomers will get to see the iconic franchise still has its ability to shock, surprise, and most importantly, make audiences laugh. So like most films, Scary Movie 6 also reflects real-world issues, even through the presence through comedy and parody. While Scary Movie 6 is designed to make audiences laugh, it also reflects a number of real-world issues that people deal with today. One of the biggest themes is how easily fear can spread. Throughout the movie, characters often overreact to strange situations which mirror how rumors, misinformation, and sensational news can spread quickly in real life, especially through social media. The film also comments on modern entertainment culture. By parodying popular horror films and current trends, it highlights society's fascination with familiar franchises, sequels, and viral moments. This reflects the entertainment industry to revisit successful ideas rather than take risks on completing original concepts. Another issue that this movie touches on is communication. Many of the characters create so many problems for themselves because they misunderstand each other, jumping to conclusion or failing to listen. This reflects real-life challenges in relationships, friendships, and even online interactions where misunderstanding can quickly escalate. Finally, the movie shows how humor can be used as a coping mechanism. By turning frightening situations into jokes, Scary Movie 6 demonstrates how people often use laughter to deal with uncertainty, anxiety, and stressful events in their own lives. Overall, while Scary Movie 6 is the first and foremost of comedy, it allows to reflect real-world concerns about fear, media influence, communication, and the way modern society responds to challenges. So within movies, I like to talk about characters and how they're motivated. What motivates the characters in Scary Movie 6? Even though it's a parody comedy, the characters are still driven by recognizable human desire and fears. Take Sydney, for example. Her main motivation has often been survival and finding the truth. No matter how ridiculous the situation becomes, she is usually the one trying to make sense of what's happening. That makes her relatable because most people want answers when they're facing uncertainty or fear. And then we have Brenda. Brenda is often motivated by emotion and impulse. She says what she thinks, acts without hesitation, and rather worries about consequences. In a way, she represents the part of human nature that reacts first, then later thinks. That's why many of her scenes are funny. She does what most people wouldn't dare to do. Characters like Ray often want acceptance and connection. He finds himself caught between trying to fit in, prove himself, or maintain relationships while chaos unfolds around him. That's a very human motivation because most people want to belong and be understood. What's interesting is that the movie uses these motivations to make fun of how people react to fear. Some people become investigators, Some become comedians, some panic, some pretend everything is fine. The horror situations may be exaggerated, but the emotional reactions underneath them are recognizable. So while Scary Movie 6 is packed with jokes and situations, the characters are motivated by things we all understand: survival, attention, belonging, confidence, and the search for answers. The comedy works because beneath the parody, the characters are exaggerations of real human behavior. And that's what keeps audiences invested in them, even when the movie is being completely ridiculous. So I got a couple hot takes for you. My first hot take is that Scary Movie 6, it was doomed to divide audiences before it even came out. Fans of the original movies wanted the same outrageous humor they grew up with. Rather, new audiences have different expectations for comedy. No matter what the filmmakers did, one side was probably going to be disappointed. In a strange way, surrounding the movie proves that the franchise is still doing what it's always done: pushing buttons and getting people talking. The fact that people are debating whether the movie is funny or offensive might actually mean it's still true to its roots. My second hot take is that Brenda is the real main character of the movie. She's the true face of the franchise. Cindy is often positioned as the lead, but when most people think about Scary Movie, they remember Brenda's wild reactions, unforgettable one-liners, and chaotic energy. She's the character who often steals every scene she's in. If you ask fans to name their favorite moments for the series, there's a good chance many of those moments would involve Brenda. So while Cindy may drive the story, Brenda is the character who defines the franchise's personality. Whether you agree or disagree with those takes, that's what makes Scary Movie 6 interesting to discuss. The movie isn't just about making people laugh, it's also sparking conversations about comedy and what audience expect from the franchise, that being around for over 2 decades. One thing that often gets overlooked in comedy movies is the soundtrack, but it's actually one of those most important tools for making the jokes work. In Scary Movie 6, the music isn't just there to create atmosphere, it's part of the comedy itself. The film plays with audience expectations by using music that sounds like it belongs in a serious horror movie. You'll hear suspension strings, dramatic build-ups, different tones that make you think something terrifying is about to happen. Then instead of a terrible moment, the movie delivers a ridiculous joke. The contrast between the serious music and the silly action is where a lot of the humor comes from. Another interesting aspect is how the soundtrack helps parody modern horror films, make recent horror movies rely on intense sound design, sudden musical strings, and unsettling ambient music to create tension. Scary Movie 6 takes those same techniques and exaggerates them, almost turning the soundtrack into a joke itself. The movie understands the language of modern horror and uses it against the audience for comedy effect. Music also helps define the energy of the characters. Fast-paced tracks can make chaotic scenes feel like more out of control. Rather dramatic music can make a complete ridiculous character seem like they're in the middle of an epic horror story. That part of the fun, the soundtrack often treats the events seriously, even when the movie clearly doesn't. At the end of the day, the soundtrack's biggest job is to support the parody. So there you have the breakdown of Scary Movie 6. Whether you think it's a bold return of the parody genre or just a chaotic trip, there's no denying it brings back that over-the-top style the franchise is known for. From the modern horror to its wild characters to the soundtrack, the film is clearly trying to balance old-school comedy with today's culture. The real question is, does it actually make you laugh, or does it rely too much on what the franchise used to be? Let me know what you think. And as always, thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe!